Alright everybody, welcome back. This video is going to be on the manifold replacement on the Super H. As you can see, I've already started some stuff because it's more or less just unbolting. I'm doing this video because I know for a lot of people it's a simple job. It is. But the reason I'm doing this is because when I was younger and I got my first Farmall H, which I do have a picture of and I'm going to do a little bit of a video slash talking on that one, but the manifold was the first job that I did on that tractor. And back then I was like questioning and second guessing everything, and it drove me insane. So I figure at some point someone somewhere is probably gonna be the same way, and they'll want to have something that's pretty detailed. So to explain, the removal process really isn't all that hard. You'll have two bolts that hold your carburetor onto the manifold here and on the back side, and then you got two screws that hold this into the back side of the carburetor here, two flathead screws. The carburetor, here's a new manifold, bolts into here. Now I bought the kit from Allstate Ag Parts. It came with new bolts, new pipe, everything. I kind of give you guys a pretty good spectrum here. I'll bring over in the light a little better. Here's the old manifold. She's pretty rough. And this pipe is pretty rough, and it looks like it's threaded, but I do believe there ain't no taking that out. This is most likely the manifold that came with it from the factory. So it is time. The kit that I ordered came with all new gaskets for it, which I can actually take them over here because they're going to be needed. My first suggestion is when you start, make sure you have all the tools you need. With this one, all my bolts. These ones, which there's another stud, but it just came out with the other bolt, no big deal. All the bolts were 9/16 for that hold the manifold on, and that held the carburetor onto the manifold itself. The screws that held that fastened this to the carburetor were nothing more than just flathead screws like this. So another thing I recommend having, which I did this with my other one, or the original H that I had, because I wanted to make sure I got everything done good the first time around. Wire brush. You can kind of clean up the threads on them. Makes for a bit easier reassembling, I think. And it don't take much. A lot of times everything just kind of comes right off. So the one that came out, I'm not going to worry too much about doing that one, only because it came off from inside, so there can't be too much on it. So, but I got them cleaned up pretty well. And the gaskets, that's why I like that they the studs stay there, because it's easy enough to slip them on so it holds them, so you're not trying to play around with putting the manifold on, because the manifolds can get pretty heavy, even though you wouldn't think they are. But holding something like that for enough time can make the arm a little bit tired. So we go ahead and install the gaskets on here. And you want to be careful not to destroy them too, because then you're down for a little bit longer. If it's something a tractor uses regularly, you'll be down for a little bit longer to order new gaskets or make them. I guess you can. I don't know if you can make them ones too, but and the gaskets are on. Now this part, I'm going to put you guys back up here because the manifold itself is a little bit, it will be a little bit harder to work with trying to get on. So It actually went pretty better. I actually did do a pre-fit and it felt like it was going to be a little harder, but it turned out not bad. So you get it all set in place. I will actually utilize the stud that came out first to put thread in first. And then the other bolts, which it's always good to have a place to put all your hardware so you have it in place so you don't lose it. Because anybody who works on stuff knows it's easy to lose small pieces of hardware. So and as a matter of fact, there's just one thing I did forget to mention. There's actually some washers you got to put on there too. That one, they were on the original manifold. I am not entirely sure if you need them on the new one, but I will put them back on just because why not? Oh, I'm not entirely too sure here. Alright, now go ahead with the bolts. I used a block of wood to keep the carburetor up off the ground for sure. The air breather tube that goes from the air breather down the carburetor has already been off, which makes for extra room, which is nice. Doing on these, especially with big hands like me. Which all I need to do would put that back on is get two hose clamps, and then that'll go back on. So, oh, I have that on the wrong way. Alright, I have a smaller extension on there for the... Actually, no, I lied. The bolts that hold the manifold on are 5/8, not 9/16. 9/16 were for the carburetor. Although my recommendation is that always make sure of the bolt size so you have all the wrenches or sockets that you will need. Because sometimes people have had them apart and they may have used different bolts or something like that to put things on, so it's always good to check that out. Okay. Just get them snug. They don't need to be ungodly tight because you don't want to break the stud off, because then that creates a whole new world of problems. Luckily enough, I've never done that, and that's actually one of the things I was kind of hoping for when I did the pre-work on this, when I unbolted everything to make sure nothing was going to break. So, look, we have it. That did not happen. It can be finger threaded on once. Drop the wrench. This isn't exactly easy, only a short while after twisting my ankle, but I'm getting around better. So Anyway, everything's pretty well packed away for the wintertime. Except for the Alice Chalmers, that's still an ongoing escapade. I gotta find hydraulic pump for that. And right now I can't even really go and do much to see it because we can't travel across state lines unless for work or you live there and you're coming into PA for work or child custody stuff, whatever. So I'm going to see about getting someone who can haul it down here for me to the local mechanic guy. At least get it down this way. See about getting a hydraulic pump for it. So go ahead and throw you up here while I finish up these bolts. Carburetor back going up here. Gonna reattach it here and then